This is Kathy Chase. As I said, they've made references to me and my children, cartoons, our lives unimportant, human rights unimportant, using cartoons to say we're not real. The phrase sufferin' succotash, I don't really know. I think that was Tweety Bird. Or Sylvester and Tweety Bird. He would say that. Sufferin' succotash, women's suffrage, Rosa Parks by the courthouse. The suck part they get from Hoover and the FBI. The Hoover dam, I guess, more so the FBI, and I guess the Wilbur J. Cohen Federal Bureau of Investigation. Then the tash, if you remove the T, you get dash, as in -7, which is what I think is in my foot. -7. -7 RFID. As I said, the incident with my foot happened either 1983 or 1984. 1983, I came up with that conclusion. I would have been 10 years old, and I'm 38 years old. My other thought was it was in 1984 when I was 11 years old, because, well, it happened when I went to the emergency room, 48th and Sumner at Brylan Jennings Hospital. This is where they get their 4 from, 4-8, square 8. Their little fake crap, their little game using Einstein's theory. And, you know, their whole thing with flags, which is very sick. As I said, the emergency entrance to the hospital there, Brylan Hospital, is on 48th and Sumner, and flags are usually placed on summits of mountains, Mount Everest, happily ever after, you know, at the end of fairy tales and stuff like that. You know, they've used fairy tales and, you know, and cartoons and all this other stupid crap, pretending I'm not real to evade my rights and my children's rights and so forth, because they're crazy. Also, flags are placed on the first flag. Neil Armstrong, I believe it was Neil Armstrong that placed the first flag on the moon. Other places that flags are used are to claim territory during wartime, or so those are the 3 things that I can think of, that flags are placed in places to claim territory during wartime, or just to claim territory in general. Flags are also placed on summits, Mount Everest being the tallest summit in the world, and Mount Everest, I believe, I haven't looked on a map, I believe is in India, and that's where you get the magic carpet rides, the Dream of Jeanie, Major, Master, you know, and their little trippy thing, and my poor son, sick, and, you know, as I said, the hospital was 48th and Sumner, and their little addition with addresses and all their stupid, fraudulent con artistry little game with my life, adding, subtracting, subway, underground railroad slavery, things below ground, sewer systems, sewer rats, and then the sub being a sandwich, the hero being a sandwich, Sloppy Joe. I believe it's how it first originated. I thought it had something to do. I was tracing back footlongs, being 12 inches long, and 12-inch long footlongs, hot dogs, you know, ballpark franks or whatever. But I know now, I'm pretty sure, somewhere along the lines of Sloppy Joe, Manwich is made by the Hunts Corporation. As people know, my maiden name's Eggers, and I married Robert Chase. And then, you know, you chase, I guess chasing eggs is an Easter egg hunt or something. And then, so, you know, I was kind of confused between the coffee and the Sloppy Joes, G.I. Joe, and, you know, Grand Island, Nebraska, the location, and their little, sick little game. One of the art pieces I believe I have, I'm not really sure. It doesn't have the name on it. I forgot what it is, but it kind of looks like the Taj Mahal, but it doesn't. I don't think that's what it is. I'm not really sure. I'm not sure. People probably know what some of the art is. I don't have it labeled. I don't remember ever buying anything with the Taj Mahal on it. All my art is scattered all over Lincoln and doctors' offices and such around the whole city of Lincoln. All the art that I had purchased while under deep levels of hypnosis. Monets and Van Goghs. Van Gogh, Southeast High School is on Van Dorn, off of Van Dorn. That's the other intersection, 37th and Van Dorn, and then all the other streets lining up to Southeast High School. So, you know, whether I was 10 or 11 years old when my foot incident happened, I'm not sure still, because they both could say it could be an 83, it could have been an 84, because I went to the hospital on 48th Street, and I'm 38 years old. So I'm not really sure, because and then we have 1011 News here, KGIN. KGIN is 1011 News station that's always been here in Lincoln, Nebraska. And it's on W Street. So there's the connection with my foot. And I lived on 5511. Can't really decide if I was 10 or 11 years old yet. It was one of the two, for sure. The www.com. As I talked about, I didn't get into enough detail about it. The scar on the ball of my left foot, for a long time, or if you know, I haven't, if you look at the scar real closely, you can see the dots on my foot where the stitches were put in there. For a long time I could see that, but also it could be the dot could be the dash, like as in -7. And then, you know, adding, subtracting, their little game with addresses and so forth. Fraud, big time fraud, and con artistry, and them ignoring me and my children's rights, and because they want to play cartoons with our lives, because they think they're better than everybody else. They think they can just use people's lives however they maliciously want, and then do away with them, which is not the case. Me and my kids have been going through hell for years now, and, you know, people know the story now. So yeah, 1011 News is on W, and my foot is a 9, well, it was an 8 wide shoe before I got pregnant, and then after, you know, I had kids, my feet grew 1 inch, because feet typically grow with childbirth. That's normal. And so the WW is worldwide web, meaning web, Charlotte's Web, my foot. Pigs, you know, pigs This little piggy went to the market. This little piggy stayed home. This little piggy had roast beef. This little piggy had none, as in they want to treat me as I'm zero. This little piggy went wee 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 all the way home. And so that's how I think of the internet address came about. And LAN, you know, internet's also called LAN, landlines, and internet, Lancaster County, cast. Well, I didn't have a cast on my foot. I don't remember having a cast. Maybe I did have something on my foot. I know I had crutches, but and a bandage of some sort. And then, as I said, cast and plays, and cast and plays, and movies, and television, and then radio telecasts, radio casts, and telecasts, and casting and fishing with a PH, not an F. Casting as a PH, not an F. So the com is, you know, com is for, well, evidently for them it's communist. For me it's communications, and you know, the whole thing with how it started. That's where I think that the internet protocol came from, the www.com. Dot Island was another thing. Dot Island in Yellowstone. It's not. They say they were saying I was yellow, and you know, the whole thing with they were saying I was yellow. I have 3 children. It's because they're evil, and the whole thing with the whole thing with the there's a culture place on Pioneers. It's called Talent Plus, and I thought at first it was a talent search company for talent, but no, it's a cultural center. Well, and it's not that I just reach both sexes, male and female, the communications device in my body. It's that I reach different nationalities too, you know, different cultures, and because I guess they scramble it or something, or they translate it. Here's another important thing. As I said, my father worked for NETV for many years, PBS cable channel 12 off of 33rd and Holdridge television station, public broadcasting. The cable channel has always been channel 12. Channel 12 has always been NETV, PBS, Lincoln, Nebraska. They just recently went digital in recent years. They used to hold auctions on there to raise funds for programming. Locally, they used to do that every year. They had an auction there down at the station. Channel 12, as you know, there's 12 eggs in a carton. There's 12 inches in a foot, and so forth. Well, everybody knows radio towers are very tall, and the other thing that's very tall is summits, mountains. Colorful Colorado. Mount Evans is the highest peak in Colorado. Mount Evans, my counselor at Southeast was Mr. Evans. Evidently the presidents don't like me because I'm actually honest. As in, you know, I talked about the Honest Engine thing and Honest Abe. And I'm actually honest, whereas I'm surrounded by crooks. Crooked, you know, those olive trees on my wall, they're crooked. You know? Shady Creek Court, crooked. Scumbags. Scumbuckets. Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. Everybody can see the well across the street on High Street. It looks like a wishing well. It's an old water well, and so forth. And then Silence of the Lambs and all this other stuff. The movies, the nightmare type movies, in which actually have, to a great degree, have come true in my life, which all these things are illegal. They treat me like I'm not real. They treat my children as if they're not real, and say they can do whatever they want to us when they never could. They can't say, oh, we're somebody, that we're better than you, so we can break all of our own laws of this country. That's not how things work. They break all these laws, and they say, oh, well, you're just not important. We could break all these laws against you because we didn't want to pay you money or whatever. You are actually worse than me. You are actually lesser people than me to be as big as scumbags as you are. To do this to me and my children makes you actually lesser of people, not better. That makes you scum. That makes you dirt. That makes you inhuman. That makes you monsters. And, you know, the whole hero sandwich and Super Grover, and then the book I had when I was little, the monster at the end of this book, don't turn the page, don't turn the page, don't turn the page. And then, you know, I had lots of books that I haven't even talked about. Not I Said the Hen, where he's making he's trying to make bread or something. Not I Said the Hen was a book I had, where he goes and picks wheat, and then he grains it into flour. He mushes it into flour, and where wheat comes from is Kansas, and where Kansas, Toto, Wizard of Oz, and the Yellow Brick Road, and so forth. Slaves who built the pyramids, slaves who were brought over on ships, and I'm abused by the first black, I won't say American, black president of the United States, who is desecrating the title of presidencies. Presidents who think that the title is so huge that they can do whatever they want to people, when they are obviously the worst presidents to have ever existed in the history of the United States of America, because they desecrate the title of presidency with abuse towards humans, towards people of this country. I'm actually a born American citizen of this country, and so are my children, and we are white. And, you know, I don't know, you know, presidents who think that they can use the title of presidency to undermine the rights of humans, obviously have some ego problems. So let go your ego and admit when you're freaking wrong. No, they won't do that because they think they're better. They always think they're better than everybody else. Then everybody's sick of you. Quite honestly, everybody is sick of you. Even other countries are sick of you.